What is Vladimir Putin's biggest secret? His mansions? Maybe his huge yachts? His net worth? Not really. His best-kept secret is something else. His private life. The true number of Putin's children is uncertain, but at least 5 have been identified, living in extreme luxury and complete privacy. 2 are officially confirmed by Putin himself, while 3 others, a girl and 2 boys, have been linked to him through investigations with strong evidence. So, who are they? And what kind of life do they live? Maria Vorontsova and Katerina Tikhonova are the only children Putin has ever acknowledged. Even with them, the details are scarce. No official statements, no public family gatherings, no personal interviews. Just 2 women living their lives in extreme wealth, completely off limits to the media. Maria, the eldest, was born in 1985. She's a doctor, specializing in genetics and rare diseases. Not just any doctor. Her research is tied to a multi-billion-dollar state project aimed at building Russia's own DNA database. That's a level of influence most scientists could only dream of. For years, she lived in Europe, married to a Dutch businessman. While her father spoke about the dangers of the West, she was enjoying a comfortable life in a country that's now labeled as hostile by Russian authorities. Eventually, she returned to Russia, where she continues her work, secure, wealthy, and completely untouchable. Katerina, the younger daughter, took a different path. While Maria pursued science, Katerina became a businesswoman, a tech entrepreneur, and, surprisingly, an acrobatic dancer. She manages major state-backed AI research projects, runs a powerful investment fund, and, for years, was married to billionaire Kirill Shamalov, a man deeply tied to the Russian elite. Together, they controlled assets worth over $2 billion. Mansions in France, luxury vacations, and an extravagant lifestyle. That marriage ended, and almost immediately, Shamalov's fortune shrank. Meanwhile, Katerina kept her position of power. Wealth, security, and government-backed projects ensured she remained one of Russia's most influential and protected women. Neither of them ever speaks about their father. No interviews, no political statements, no acknowledgement of their role in Russia's elite. It's a life of unimaginable privilege built on complete silence. That's just the official side of the story. Things get even more interesting when we talk about the children Putin never admitted to. When you're the alleged son of Vladimir Putin, life isn't exactly normal. You don't go to public school, you don't take the metro, and you definitely don't post selfies on Instagram. No one can confirm you even exist, except for a handful of investigative journalists who put the pieces together. Alina Kabayeva, the former rhythmic gymnastics star turned mysterious media executive, is rumored to be the mother of 2 of Putin's sons. And while there are no official birth records linking them to the Kremlin, the pattern is hard to ignore. First, the timing. Reports suggest she gave birth in 2015 and again in 2019. Both times, the clinic was completely shut down, doctors were sworn to secrecy, and armed security surrounded the building. That's not exactly standard hospital procedure. Then, there's the lifestyle. These boys don't live in some suburban mansion. They are reportedly raised in Putin's most private estates, places like Valdai, a luxurious, heavily guarded retreat surrounded by forests and lakes. No cameras, no prying eyes, just absolute isolation. And let's talk about their childhood. No school drop-offs, no soccer practice with friends. Instead, they have hand-picked elite tutors, security escorts, and a life that revolves around being invisible. They don't use regular phones, their names never appear in official records, and if you ask about them in Russia, you're met with silence. Even Kabayeva herself has disappeared from public life. Once a media darling, she is now rarely seen in public. When she does appear, it's usually in highly controlled environments, like a state-sponsored gymnastics festival, where she speaks in vague, patriotic phrases. The boys are too famous to live normal lives, but too hidden to step into power. They're growing up in an isolated, paranoid bubble, where the world is a dangerous place, and their last name is a liability. Will they be future business moguls, quietly inheriting parts of their father's empire? Or will they spend their lives shuffled between secret residences, forever in the shadows? One thing is clear, these boys were born into unimaginable wealth, but freedom is the one thing they don't have yet. If Putin's 2 official daughters live in the world of power and academia, and his secret sons live in isolation, then Luisa Rozova is the one who almost slipped through the cracks. For years, no one paid much attention to a young socialite named Luisa Rozova until investigative journalists took a closer look at her mother, Svetlana Krivonogik, a former cleaner who somehow ended up owning luxury apartments in Monaco, a stake in one of Russia's biggest banks, and a lifestyle that didn't quite match her official job title. Luisa herself didn't do much to hide. Unlike the other Putin children, she was active on Instagram, sharing pictures from trendy cafes in St. Petersburg, shopping sprees in Paris, and ski trips to Switzerland. Not exactly low profile. Her online persona screamed wealth and privilege, but she played it differently. Vintage outfits, indie music, and coffee shop selfies. She was relatable, even though she was reportedly living in a multi-million-dollar penthouse owned by her mother's mysterious fortune. Then, in 2022, everything changed. After Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Luisa vanished from social media overnight. No more stories, no more posts. Her Instagram was deleted, and her public life was erased in a matter of hours. Her mother still owns a Monaco apartment worth over $4 million, still has deep financial ties to the elite, and still moves in the circles of people who don't just get lucky, they get placed. We've seen who they are. We've looked at their secret lives. Now let's talk about the one thing they all have in common: unimaginable wealth. You'd expect the children of a world leader to have privileges, but Putin's offspring live on an entirely different level. We're talking hidden mansions, billion-dollar trusts, private jets, and secret luxury empires spread across the globe, and yet none of it officially exists. Let's start with real estate, because nothing screams power like owning massive properties in multiple countries. Katerina Tikhonova enjoys a life of luxury, moving between Moscow's most expensive districts and elite residences in Switzerland. She reportedly lives in a high-security complex where apartments cost millions of dollars. Maria Vorontsova, the scientist, isn't living in some tiny research lab. She and her husband were gifted a lavish penthouse in Moscow worth $10 million, conveniently owned by a Kremlin-linked company. Alina Kabaeva's sons don't just have one home. They have several. A palatial residence in Valdai, a luxurious retreat in Sochi, and a private playground reportedly built just for them near Putin's secret estate. Luisa Rozova's mother owns a Monaco penthouse worth over $4 million, and yet officially, no one can explain where the money came from. And that's just the real estate. What about their actual lifestyle? These are the kind of people who never need to check a price tag. Designer clothes, private chefs, and cars worth more than most people's lifetime salaries, all standard. Flying commercials are for ordinary people. The children of the most powerful man in Russia move differently. They step into private jets like it's a casual taxi ride, board luxury yachts without ever needing a passport, and get behind the wheel of cars most billionaires would envy. Katerina Tikhonova doesn't just fly. She is flown on state-owned Dassault Falcon jets, the kind meant for high-ranking officials. Maria Vorontsova, with her international business ties, has access to Gulfstream jets, complete with VIP lounges and onboard dining that could rival five-star restaurants. These are not rented luxuries. These are permanent privileges. Then there's the ocean. Putin's own $100 million super yacht, Graceful, is famous, but the family's real luxury floats under different names. Whenever Alina Kabaeva goes on vacation, fully staffed mega yachts magically appear in Sochi, ready to set sail. Luisa Rozova's mother, Svetlana Krivonogik, has ties to a yacht named Aldoga, registered through offshore networks, where ownership is a mere technicality. These aren't just boats, they are palaces on water, featuring gold fixtures, onboard cinemas, and jacuzzis, with views most people can only dream of. On land, the extravagance continues. Katerina is chauffeured in a custom-built Maybach S650, designed for absolute security. Maria prefers something with a presence. Her blacked-out Mercedes G-Wagon is a fortress on wheels. And even Luisa Rozova, before vanishing from social media, was living her best life in a Bentley, occasionally showing off her Heirs shopping sprees from the front seat. Everywhere they go, luxury follows. Planes, yachts, convoys of armored cars. These are not special treats. This is everyday life. No need to book flights, no need to check in, no need to wait. Everything is arranged, paid for, and waiting. Their vacations are carefully planned, with destinations that offer both extreme exclusivity and absolute discretion. No crowded beaches, no waiting in lines, no chance encounters with ordinary people. When they travel, the world bends to accommodate them. Staff ensure no cameras, no unwanted guests, no leaks. Alina Kabaeva, along with her two sons, doesn't need to leave Russia to live in luxury. State-owned Sochi resorts magically become unavailable to the public when she arrives, transforming into her personal retreat. When she does travel abroad, it's always with a full entourage, using private villas on the Mediterranean. Wealth in Putin's inner circle isn't measured in bank statements. It's measured in power, secrecy, and access. Officially, his children don't own much. No billion-dollar holdings, no Forbes rankings. On paper, they're just successful professionals. But in reality, they control an empire built on state connections, hidden assets, and an endless flow of resources. Maria Vorontsova, the biotech investor, has stakes in Russian pharmaceutical companies that enjoy generous government contracts. She isn't just wealthy, she's positioned to profit from the country's entire healthcare system. Katerina Tikhonova, the academic and business leader, has direct ties to Russia's biggest corporations, including those linked to state-run energy giants. Billions move through these networks, ensuring she never has to worry about finances. Being the child of one of the richest, most powerful men in Russia sounds like a dream. The best schools, unlimited wealth, a life of luxury. But reality is far more complicated. Unlike other billionaire heirs who flaunt their status, Putin's children are kept in the shadows, not out of humility, out of necessity. Life in their world is not just about money and power. It's about control, surveillance, and fear. From the moment they're born, they are classified as state secrets. Their names don't appear in official documents. They don't attend public events, and the only photos of them that exist are the ones that accidentally leak. They are surrounded by security, not just bodyguards, but entire teams of intelligence officers who track their every move. Unlike normal kids who learn independence, these children grow up in golden cages, their interactions tightly controlled. Their schools are private, their social circles are pre-approved, and even their playdates require security clearance. Take Putin's sons, for example. They don't walk into a store and buy a phone like any other teenager. Their devices are custom-made, with no GPS, no cloud backups, no internet tracking. Anything that could expose their location or identity is forbidden. Even video games are carefully monitored. After all, imagine what could happen if one of them casually spoke into a headset, revealing a little too much information. For Luisa Rozova, the alleged daughter from another mistress, this reality became painfully clear. She made the mistake of enjoying a little too much online attention, casually posting selfies and engaging with fans. Then suddenly, she vanished from the internet. Then there's the paranoia. While most kids worry about exams or their latest crush, Putin's children worry about being watched all the time. They don't have normal friendships, only people who have been vetted and approved. Even relatives can't visit freely. Their emails, monitored, their conversations, recorded, their every step, followed. On the surface, they have it all. Wealth, status, security, but they also have no privacy, no freedom, and no future of their own making. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you found this video interesting.